Do you feel like perspective is too complicated for you? You wanna draw nice backgrounds, but you just can't deal with horizon line, vanishing points, and all those overwhelming lines. What if I told you you can draw backgrounds in a much simpler way? Stay in this video and I'll teach you. Linear perspective is a mathematical system to create an illusion of depth in flat surfaces. This technique, first used by the architect Filippo Brunelleschi, I can't Italian, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your language, is still used today to make 2D drawings feel like they have 3 dimensions. By creating a vanishing point in the horizon line and adding converging lines to it, artists can create almost any background and make it look like things that are far away from our sight are smaller or vanishing. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna have to learn it at some point. You can't really run from Renaissance art techniques forever, but I'm here to help you delay the suffering a little bit, while still learning about depth and how objects relate to each other to make up a nice background for your art. Instead of converging all lines to a vanishing point, creating a dramatic outdoors perspective, we'll be working with parallel lines. Let's draw a cozy shop together. We'll be using 3 lines: vertical, leaning up, and leaning down. They always have to be parallel to each other. This is very important. To make it easier for us to keep track of these lines, I'll color code them in red, green, and blue. Now, every time I draw a red line, it has to be parallel to the other red lines. And whenever I draw a green line, it has to be parallel to the other green lines. Same goes for blue, always parallel to each other. Now for the fun part! Let's start planning the drawing. Let me speed this up so it's not boring for you to watch. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments. I began by the balcony since it's the main structure in the shop. It's gonna be a small shop, mostly because I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long, so I didn't worry about adding more furniture. As a matter of practice, you can draw bigger shops or rooms or any backgrounds you want. This technique works really well for inner backgrounds, where we don't notice larger distances, so using vanishing points don't really feel realistic. Of course, vanishing points can be used in inner backgrounds for a dramatic effect. You're drawing your choices. I'm adding a chair so I can place a character here, the shopkeeper. I know the chair will be mostly covered by the character, but I like drawing the whole thing anyway. As we can be very critical about our own work, a friendly reminder that this is just the base structure for the background. As a sketch, nothing is written in stone. You're free to change your mind about shapes and objects, so don't be too hard on yourself and play around with your ideas. You can always start over. A shop needs a sign, so I'm also adding one at the top. I got my base shapes and I'm overall happy with it. Next step is turning opacity down so I can actually draw on the top of the guidelines. I'm also adding the character here. Let's call her Nubia. She's a soft modern witch who sells some magical stuff. She's very calm and has low social battery, but she's putting some effort in running her business. You don't have to give your character a backstory, but it kinda helps me figure out what kind of items to add to the shop and the color palette I want for this scene. Now let's turn these guidelines into an actual scenery. I'm starting by the shelf, so I can place some products here. It will help fill in the scene and make it more appealing for the observer. I decided for different kinds of potions and candles. Drawing bottles in different shapes will show some variety and look less lazy because it shows your effort in drawing each of them. It also gives more information for the observer to go through. Adding a nice stylish label is a good idea. But let's not be purists here. Work smart, not hard. You can and you should use copy and paste to save up time, especially when it makes sense. It is normal that shops have multiple units of the same product or similar products in different colors. That's why I'm adding more of these candles here, paying attention to its placement, so it doesn't look boring. The trick is making it look a little bit different, even if it's the same element. One of the advantages of digital over traditional art is that you can always move or scale the layers as you want. Some parts of the drawing won't look very different even after you add the liner to it, and it's fine. Not everything in the drawing has to be super extra detailed. Having some clean areas make your image flow better. You also don't have to worry about drawing every single thing, as you can add textures and patterns later. I decided to add a few more lines to my balcony, since it looks less like a bunch of rectangles and more like a real thing. I still want it to look simple, because it's a tiny, cozy, magical shop. In my head, it can only be made out of wood, but we'll get to it later. For the sign, I'm typing a random suitable name and choosing a font that seems easy to read. With some personality, but not too much, because I don't want it to draw all the attention. I adjust it until it fits the sign properly and move on. Getting back to Nubia, girl needs some definition. She can use some line art as the boss witch she is. Go Nubia! As for the frame on the wall, it can be a price list of the products or something similar. When you're dealing with many elements, eventually things won't match. No worries, take your time and fix it. You can always make it work. I'm not adding line art to the floor. Instead, I'm painting the squares to create some color blocking. It's a simple way to add elements to a large area. Let's draw the chair, or at least the visible parts of it. As stated before, I want the balcony to be made out of wood. In my head, it makes sense that it has visible planks. I'm selecting the areas where the wood is vertically placed and I drop the texture on it. As my art style tends to be less vibrant, I lower the saturation until I'm happy with it. I repeat the process, making sure the direction of the texture makes sense along with the drawing. Now let's give Nubia a couple of colors. I proceed on giving the background some really boring neutral colors because I like it very much. Color choice is very personal, so go for whatever your heart wants. Time to give Nubia some visual identity. Besides wearing basic clothes, she likes strong makeup. Balance is important. For the shop items, I keep selecting less saturated colors, but that's me. You can go for whatever you want. Kinda unrelated, but still important, always name your layers. After some time working on a drawing, you end up with a lot of layers, so you better name them properly. This way, you won't get lost and it saves up time. This is a basic example of what you can do using parallel lines. Now, use your creativity. Go crazy! You can do it! Yay! If you want to learn some more tips and techniques for backgrounds, you can watch my other tutorial, the award-winning Background for Beginners. It's in the card right there. That's it! I hope this humble tutorial made your life easier. Join our Discord and show us your art too!